Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson, put out this official video from the Chinese government.
Speak of the devil, by the way.
Yeah.
Getting people ready for something.
Yes. Okay, this is what it says, never kneel down. Let's take a look.
Have you heard of the eye of the storm? It appears calm for a moment, but is actually a deadly trap. The calm before an even fiercer storm. The U.S. has stirred up a global tariff storm and deliberately targeted China, playing a 90-day pause game with other nations, forcing them to limit trade with China. This is just like the deadly trap of the eye of the storm. Bowing to a bully is like drinking poison to quench thirst. It only deepens the crisis.
AI
Okay.
schlock.
You know what's very interesting about this is, okay, they're talking about all this, America's targeting and all that, and then they show all this footage of job fairs applications to show that America doesn't have jobs. Then they showed, you see, and then they showed that like derelict mining equipment from an ancient 1800s mine in America. It's like, oh, all the industry's gone away. Then they show the protests that they themselves funded in America. You know when you see all these protests that happen where it's like tax the rich and all this, like
China's involved in a lot,
so many of those protests, those anti-government protests and these big divisive protests have government links to the Chinese government, and so that they can use it in things like this. You know what I mean?
They'll actually get people to hold up placards, or especially like Chinese friendship organizations.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
This is the central government putting this.
Yeah, this
like
is
AI
this,
schlock
this,
video.
This is the Chinese government, and this is real footage here.
This is not social media.
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
History has proven compromise won't earn you mercy. Kneeling only invites more bullying. China won't kneel down, because we know standing up for ourselves keeps the possibility of cooperation alive, while compromise snuffs it out. China won't back down, so the voices of the weak will be heard, bullying will be stopped, and justice will not disappear from the world. All bullies are just paper tigers.
Did you see that it had, again, they're calling the America a paper tiger. They have an actual picture of, okay, sorry, we have to show this part
because
again.
we know standing up for ourselves keeps the possibility of cooperation alive.
They show Meng Wanzhou, who avoided sanctions, broke the law, was arrested in Canada for breaking the law.
For Huawei.
Yes. For Huawei, for breaking sanction law. They kidnapped Canadian citizens, did this hostage diplomacy. She got to be free living in her mansion in Canada. She just couldn't leave Canada. She wasn't even under arrest. She just had an ankle monitor. They put these Canadians in like prisons with the lights on 24/7 and like tortured them.
They tortured them.
Yeah, for years until like there was basically a prisoner transfer here. But she got to live in her multi-million-dollar mansions and enjoy her life eating steak or whatever. But they're like trying to use this as an example.
While compromise snuffs it out, China won't back down, so the voices of the weak will be heard, bullying will be stopped, and justice will not disappear from the world. All bullies...
See, do you see that? It's a paper tiger, but it's America. It's got the American flag on the tail.
That's a weird flex, by the way. China's literally known as the paper tiger. But you know what's funny is that this is a weird flex because that is the shittiest tiger I've ever seen in my life. That is like a child made it.
Yeah.
That's like, Mommy.
Yeah, look what I made.
I made it school, and they're like, that's really good, honey.
Look what I made in special ed class.
Wow, yeah, no harm, no
yeah,
foul.
exactly.
There, but
That's what they made.
yeah.
They're just paper tigers. The U.S. does not represent the entire world.
What?
I get it.
Special
I
ed,
get what you're trying
special
to say,
ed
yes.
art class.
Yes,
You know.
yeah.
Trade makes up less than a fifth of the world's
We have the
total.
power to
behind.
push
Yes.
When the rest of the world stands together in solidarity, the U.S. is just a small, stranded boat.
So the U.S. is just a small stranded boat, by the way. Okay? And then
Imperialists are always arrogant.
imperialists are always
Are you
arrogant.
speaking of yourself?
Yeah.
You're speaking of yourself with this very immature video.
Remember, guys, this is the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs. Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson put this out. That is the highest level of diplomacy to go overseas. It's like that's who addresses the rest of the world
Yes.
in an official capacity
Yes.
from the government. And they're like, Imperialists are always arrogant. America's a paper tiger. America's a stranded boat by itself. Oh, imperialists are always arrogant. If they show a bit of reason.
If they show a bit of reason, it's only because they're forced to do so.
What does that even mean? By the way, only 9 minutes left on the super chat goal, so give it a couple.
Okay.
We have 10 left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Make no mistake, the U.S. will keep flip-flopping and playing hardball. But China will stand firm. No matter how hard the wind blows. No matter how clouds rage.
Oh, wow, that wasn't a very
crash?
elegant. That wasn't an elegant landing of their probe, their fake CG probe.
Yeah.
Anyway, have you seen how they're like showing all this fancy our
Yes.
space race, all of our technology?
Tonight, the brighter the stars shine, someone has to step forward, torch in hand, to shatter the fog and illuminate the path ahead.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Every nation stands tall. The world will break through the walls of hegemony.
I don't think they understand what hegemony means. It's one of those words they use a lot.
Yeah, they do. And they also showed the failure of Marathon where all the
Yes.
robots fell and broke.
Exactly, but this is their achievement.
Oh, well.
For China, for the world,
Yeah.
we must rise and fight on. China won't kneel down.
Really?
So this is a stupid thing to say because if there's a nation where a lot of kneeling happens, it's China.
And then you know what the kneeling is too? Mm-hmm. The kneeling is bowing down to authority.
Yes.
So it is the stupidest thing to claim.
Yeah.
You, Chinese government I'm speaking to, have created a nation of people that must bow down to you.
They must kneel down. Look at this footage.
They kneel and they beg. You take their money away. You take their jobs away. You have a massive unemployment. You don't pay people on time. You get rid of their rights as citizens. You take their land. You take their everything. You take their families away. You disappear people. You have an 8 out of 100 on the Freedom Index. You are a bloody dictatorship
Yes.
that puts millions of people in concentration camps in modern times. It forces your citizens to beg and kneel for the very basic of human dignity.
Yes.
And
Basic rights.
And you claim that you do not kneel down.
Yes. And for those of you who might be a bit confused, this is something that's got a lot of historical context. Kowtowing is something that I believe started in China. It's a Chinese word. And that means to lie down, kneel in front of somebody to show, basically beg for mercy and to show the highest respect. And what you're seeing here is whenever there's a dispute, because there's no legal process in China. If, for instance, the Chinese government took your land, or let's say a real estate company didn't complete the project and you've lost your entire life savings, or a bank refuses to give you your money, the only option they have is to go and kneel down and beg the government to beg the institution, to beg the company to pay them their wages that haven't been paid in like 6 months. Or in this case, to beg the police officer to not take away his e-bike, which he needs for work. You know? So when it comes to kneeling down, it's something that China is so used to. This is a ritual that happens in schools where the children have to kneel down and beg.
I just hate that scene.
Yeah, they have to.
The students are kneeling down to their parents to show filial piety.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman is just on her phone messing around.
Doesn't care. Yeah, this one with the earmuffs.
Doesn't give a shit.
I mean, that's pretty despicable. I mean, the kid's literally like kneeling down in front
She's
of
like
her.
trading
She doesn't
stocks
care.
or whatever.
Doesn't care. Doesn't care. But again, China, to say that you won't kneel down and China won't kneel down is the stupidest thing because, like I said, I have never seen as much kneeling down as I have in China.
Me too.
It's probably the most kneeling down nation, you know, unfortunately, in the world because there is no other recourse. You know, in a place like America, people can stand up with a banner and scream loudly about their gripes and their problems, and you know, they can go to the press and they can do whatever. In China, you can't. You're actually reduced. And there's kind of a famous meme that goes around where it shows Chinese people protesting abroad, and they've got these mean-looking guys with their Chinese flags saying like, kneel down and lick your master's ass. You know, that's literally what he's got.
Yes.
And then it's like Chinese people protesting in China. It shows them all kneeling and begging in front of a government office. And that's actually the truth.
I remember you left my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we...
This is actually going to be a mini documentary.
Yes. This is just like they're being attacked by excavators.
They'd be like, no, you come to the fire now.
Right.
Singing Bible songs. said, "No, Speed Racer, no!" And it had pictures of our scooter.
Yeah, you're not a peeping Tom who's out in public who should be actually just thrown in jail.
We pretend like we had a boombox or like push a rock or something. Like, okay, Harvester of Sorrow.
Oh, boy.
Just a little bit earlier on, they're just asking for kisses and stuff.
Yeah, now it's just full-on harassment.